This is Dabu7 with a quick earthquake update. I want to point out a few things here when it comes to the United States, specifically the Midwest and the New Madrid region. This is an area I've always had my eye on, and it's every day that I check these earthquake maps. May not do a video every day or have the chance to, but I'm always checking them. And I always see on a daily basis the patterns around the globe when it comes to these quakes. And there's common patterns that you will see, like Southern California swarms. These days, the fracking swarms in Oklahoma. But we've seen some odd events happen throughout the past couple years. Like there were swarms that broke loose on the border here between several states. Big quakes that had hit in Mexico, even in the Gulf of California, in Texas. And a lot of people remember the big quake that struck out here and was felt in D.C. We also had this massive sonic boom that they're trying to say was military jets that was scrambled to go here and there, after at first they were saying they knew nothing. And this is the same area that we caught that huge wave on radar going into. It emanated from down in Argentina, but when it got to its fullest potential, as wide as it could get, it blasted this whole region here and up the east coast of the United States. Still don't know what that was, but what we're looking at now is a series of small quakes that seem to come to a pinnacle right here at the heart of the New Madrid. Like I said, we've seen the swarms in Oklahoma due to fracking, but you can see here in the past 24 hours, a 2.1 registered in Arkansas, a 2.1 in Tennessee, parallel to one another. And since then, a 2.5 has struck in Missouri. Now, these are not massive quakes, but I want you to pay attention to how many are popping up, even if they're small. When we have another one here in Tennessee, 2.1. These smaller quakes. And, would you know it, it just so happens to be situated right there at the New Madrid. This is what I call the keyhole. It is a very unique piece of land, so to speak. It is considered to be Kentucky, but it does not touch Kentucky. The river comes down and separates it. It's very weird. It dips down, and this becomes Tennessee. This is all Tennessee, and everything around through here is Missouri. But surrounded by water is this island of Kentucky, and this is exactly where New Madrid sits. So anytime I see some activity popping up in this region, I like to keep track of it, let folks know what's going on. It's not massive, but it is an uptick in smaller quakes all of a sudden across this region. As far as global quakes go, we did just see a 5.3 strike down here in Chile. There has been an ongoing swarm up here in northern Colombia, as well as some 3 to 4s humming out of the Virgin Islands here recently. There's also been some swarms up here off of British Columbia. And there was a big quake, and there's still a nice swarm going on from the big quake that struck right here in the Straits of Gibraltar. Now, since then, I've watched these quakes creep out, even out into the Azores, and they've hit along this ridge like I've talked about before, and now, once again, in the mouth of the Serpent Head, in the teeth. A look around the globe, Indonesia, all these islands seeing moderate quakes here, medium-sized quakes, and one striking in the Gulf of Aden 23 hours ago. So as far as significant quakes go, nothing massive here as of late on a destruction type scale. But make note that since my last one, I talked specifically about quakes hitting in this region. And they have within the past week or so, inside of this rim. Okay, not just on the outside where I've talked about before too, and we've seen smaller ones hit down here as well. And I'd say keep an eye out for this quiet stretch, because I've said it before, you never know the magnitude of a quake, it's going to let loose. It's going to. If it's been quiet for all this time, eventually it'll let off a 5, 6, maybe a 7. And knowing where they hit, knowing these plate boundaries is a good thing. But when you start to see small patterns pop up, it's something to pay attention to. It may not be nothing big, but it could be signaling a shift somewhere else that is connected to all this. And once again, running right along the bottom frame here of the old craton belt, with that whole plate. So I'll leave a link. Make sure to tune in over on Dabu 777 tonight for Real Talk Live at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's our new time. We'll be discussing a lot over there with a lot of updates. It's been Dabu 7. Peace.